Villagers. Those strange pixelated people living their best lives in cozy little villages. But wait, are they secretly evil? For a long time, villagers have had, well, a reputation. You've probably seen the memes. You give them a stack of emeralds, and they hand you a dirt block. Or worse, you trade them a treasure trove of emeralds for one loaf of bread. They must want you to starve, right? Clearly, they're out to scam you. Well, no. Let's get this straight. Those examples, they're totally exaggerated. In fact, they're not even possible within Minecraft. And so the real story of villager trading is actually much more interesting. And trust me, they're not evil. Well, mostly. Villagers aren't just sitting around scamming players all day for fun. These people are busy. They've got jobs, like actual jobs. Weaponsmiths work constantly at the grindstone, butchers are glued to their smokers, and librarians, well, they read intensely. They work every single day, without taking any breaks. Well, unless of course, there's a raid. Then, yeah, they're gonna panic, like all the other villagers. So when you approach a villager to trade, you're not just talking to a lazy scam artist, you're dealing with a hard-working individual who spent their whole life perfecting their craft. You give them emeralds, and in exchange they give you a paper, or some pork chops, or maybe even some basic tools. It's a somewhat fair exchange. Now there is a limit to how much they will trade with you, since they do have a limited storage. Their resources are finite, despite the desires for said resources being infinite, so not everyone can get everything. But as long as these villagers have a bed to rest on and a workstation to work with, they will restock those trades relatively quickly, and so you can buy more. Now here's where the villagers get really interesting. They have this whole leveling up system. The more you trade with them, the more emeralds that they perceive they can generate in the future, and so naturally they begin to work harder and attempt to learn more complex skills within their careers. As they invest into themselves and get better, they start being able to produce, and therefore sell, better quality goods. And so before you know it, they're selling enchanted diamond tools. It's a win-win scenario. Through their motivation of profit, they invest and generate better goods that you can buy, which, in turn, generates more emerald profits for the villagers. So, they aren't scamming you, they're simply just hardworking individuals with a desire for more emeralds. And your gain is a result of their gain. Everyone wins with the villager trading. But, okay, I know what you might be thinking. The prices. They're outrageous! Why do some of these items cost so many emeralds? This is a scam, and clearly this is nothing more than greed. Except here's the thing, it's not a scam. You have the freedom to buy, and you also have the freedom not to buy. No one is forcing you to trade with the villagers, and just because you want the items that they have, that doesn't mean that you're entitled to said item. The villagers work hard to make those items, and you are not entitled to their labour. Likewise, they are not entitled to your emeralds just because they want them. Their trading system is an exchange freely made between the buyer, so you, and the sellers, so the villagers. If you don't like that exchange, you do have the freedom to walk away and go create the item yourself. Likewise, if the villagers don't like the price that you're willing to pay, they have the freedom to walk away too. No one is forcing this exchange, and it is freely made by all parties involved. However, when this trade does occur of the free will of both of these two parties, both of them are able to get what they want. The villagers get their emeralds, and you get your items. Okay, but at this point some might say that the villagers are evil, because the prices that they set are arbitrary, and they have all the power within this trade. But, again, that's not entirely the case. To begin with, yes, the prices are set semi-randomly. However, as you trade with and interact with the villagers, they do change their prices. For instance, if you buy a lot of one item from a villager, over time they will start increasing the price they sell the item for. They do this because you purchasing all their stock from them consistently sends a signal to that villager that,
hey, the people want this item more than I can supply it, so I could make and then sell the same volume of this item, but sell at a higher price, and so I would make more emeralds in profit.
So if you're willing and able to purchase all the supply of that item at emerald price A, and that increases to emerald price B, and you still keep buying out all their stocks, then the villagers know that they can charge even more, and therefore make even more emeralds in profit. But if you stop buying the item as much at price B, and the villager ends up making less emeralds in profits, they know they need to lower the price back down to A, so that they can make more emeralds. So in a way, the price of these items will always self-correct, because at the end of the day, all the villagers care about when they're trading is the emerald profit that they can generate. But that's evil though, isn't it? Well, no. Because with those emeralds, that villager is free to go and trade with other villagers, so that they can go and buy bread for their villager families, and can afford to feed everyone. Also, it is this desire for more emeralds that makes the villagers motivated to sell things in the first place that you want. Without a proper incentive of emeralds, these villagers would have almost no reason to spend any time making goods for you or for the other villagers. They might as well just focus on themselves if there was no emeralds to be generated. Or if you forced all the villagers to share their emeralds profits entirely equally, then the villagers would have no reason to work hard. They could just rely on the other villagers to provide everything for them. But that will never work. The villagers need a reason to work harder, and that's created through their emeralds. So in a way, this great desire for emeralds motivates the villagers into providing not just for the needs of their society, but also for the excess wanted goods, such as enchanted books, or fancy quartz, that you and the other villagers will likely want. Without the villagers desiring this emerald profit, there would be no, or far fewer goods, which in turn could cause great suffering to any entity involved with the villagers, and that could turn the world into a far darker era. So in a way, everyone's lives have improved due to the voluntary cooperation of trade between the villagers and other villagers, and between the villagers and the players. Their trade is not a zero-sum game. In theory, everyone can get what they want, and everyone can win. But some could say that this is still evil of the villagers. The villagers are being selfish, and they're leaving other villagers to suffer. They only care about themselves and making their own lives better. And that's true. Well, sort of. Because they do have the freedom to help one another, and they also have the freedom not to help one another. But the villagers aren't selfish. They can give one another excess food to other villagers if they wish. They are in fact free to do with their resources entirely as they please, and no one is here to stop them. And this trading system that they've set up is actually a rather efficient way of allocating those resources, as it allows the villagers to exchange their emeralds with other villagers for the goods that they desire that they may not possess the skills to create. So really, the villagers aren't evil. They just know what they want to trade, and they know what they want in exchange for those trades, and no external player or villager leader would be able to better allocate the resources of the villagers and the desires of the villagers, besides, well, the villagers themselves. The villagers know what they need to do. We don't. The villagers know if they need to build more homes in their villages. We don't know that. The villagers know that they need to subscribe, but sadly, only 14% of us do. Additionally, not only does the freedom of the villagers allow them to better help themselves, but they are also free to help the player as well. For instance, when a player defends a village from a raid, the villagers thank the player by announcing them as a hero of the village, and they then freely choose to give the player discounts and sometimes free items. Also, if you save a zombie villager, they choose to greatly give you discounts. The villagers are free to choose what they trade, and the player is free to choose what they buy, and together they agree on a price. So it must be clear, the villagers are not evil. So, if the villagers aren't evil, who is? Well, us. We are the true evil beings. No, seriously, think about it. We go into the villages and steal from their homes. We kidnap the villagers and take them to our bases. We trap them in cages to zombify to cure them over and over again, inflicting great suffering onto those innocent villagers, all for our own selfish gain. We manipulate them into giving us the lowest possible prices. We remove all their freedoms. We are the evil ones. When we take control of the lives of the villagers, they suffer, they lose out, their lives get worse, all just so that we can get a better trade. We're the selfish ones. In a way, we're scamming them. We make them think that we're the heroes for them, when in reality, we create all the issues. So the true issue with the villagers is not the villagers, but those that are in control of the power. And speaking of power, you have no choice but to follow this order from their leader.
Subscribe. You know you really want to. New videos will be released every single week.
These villagers have come so far from what they once were, and their complex trading systems has played a huge role in their successes. Their lives have never been better. Their trading has worked. But their lives weren't always so great. So consider watching this video to uncover the full history of the villagers.